All right. And that's why you have so much death out here right now. All right. So, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of a city is, such are all they that dwell therein. It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. All right? An unwise king destroyeth the people who he rules over. All right? And look at what's going on in the earth right now. Is not people destroyed? All right. It says, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. I'm going to say that again. The power, whoever has the power on the earth, whatever nation, all right, and whatever people of that nation is in power, is in the hand of the Lord. It's in the hand of the Lord, and he giveth it to whomsoever he will, according to his plan, according to his will that was written from the beginning. All right. And which he planned on before the beginning. So it says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. In due time. So right now, all right, those that set over it is unprofitable. Since he's saying right here that in due time he will set over it one that is profitable, that denotes that right here and now, who is ruling the earth, who the Most High has given the power to, is unprofitable. All right. Right now, that's Esau, Edom. All right. The Edomites, the self-proclaimed white man, the wicked nation of people. OK, which is unprofitable. They're ruling right now. And so wouldn't you want a place where the rulers are unprofitable and destroying the people? Wouldn't you want them to ultimately be taken down and destroyed? All right. So, carrying on, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 27. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 27. It says, and being but one, she can do all things. Talking about wisdom. And remaining in herself, she maketh all things new. And in all ages, entering into holy souls, she maketh them friends of God and prophets. So in all ages, wisdom enters into holy souls, all right, who the Most High chose of the nation of Israel, all right, the elect men that was set up to speak his words and give the warning to the rest of the people. All right. Wisdom entereth into those men and maketh them friends of God and maketh them prophets. It says in every age. All right. So in every age, you have the prophets come speaking the words and the will of the Father. All right. Now check it out in Jeremiah. All right, because in every age you have other nations that wind up taking down another nation, and then they wind up ruling for a age or time, and then another nation comes, all right, who the Most High already slated to take that other particular nation down, and then they come up and they rule for a time. But guess what? When all these other nations rule, it's not with the law, statutes, and commandments and the instructions of the Most High God in righteousness. It's not that. See, they rule their way. Okay? And like the scripture says, if you wander out of the way of understanding, you remain in the congregation of the dead. All right? If anybody rule any way outside of the instructions that the Most High gave to live on this planet Earth, then it's a death style and not a lifestyle. It's going to ultimately end in them going down in death. Okay? But in all ages, all right, wisdom entereth into holy souls, all right, and maketh them friends, those prophets, friends of God, and of course prophets. This is Jeremiah 28:8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms, of war, of evil, and of pestilence. Okay? This is what the prophets always did. Okay? Because whatever nation was ruling at that time was not ruling in righteousness. And it was that time for them to go down and for another nation to get their chance. All right? The Most High is totally fair. All right? All nations have had a time and a chance to rule over all other nations. And they all ruled with their ways, which was not the ways of righteousness. Which, if it's not the ways of righteousness, is going to come to an end. All right? The only way that you can rule forever and ever is if you're ruling with the ways of righteousness. All right? So, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. And it's the same right now, because this place is being ruled in wickedness. This is the last age, all right, before the Lord comes back and set up the kingdom of heaven and the righteous nation of people in rulership with the law, statutes, and commandments written in their minds and their hearts to rule perfectly in perfect righteousness. All right. And that's what we long for. That's what we yearn for. That's what we beg the Lord to hurry and hasten that day. Okay. Because we tired of this present evil world. And you should be too. And you should have no problem with accepting the prophets that's speaking about the destruction of a present evil world and ultimately a world of peace, a world of righteousness. That's what we're ultimately talking about. Okay? See, but we have to speak about the doom before the actual place of righteousness be set up. Okay? So yeah, the prophets have always, anytime a nation was about to go down and another nation come up into power, the prophets was out prophesying it. No different right now. All right? And those who are ruling in wickedness, of course they're going to have a problem with the prophets that's speaking of their downfall because they're ruling in wickedness. Okay? Of course they're going to have a problem with that. And of course, they're going to tell you and speak smooth words and speak, nice and like optimistic and all these things. Of course, they're going to do that to speak evil of us. So all other people could reject us. All right. See, but guess what? All people will reject us except for the elect of the nation of Israel that's slated for salvation from the judgment that the Lord is coming back with. Okay? From the doom the Lord is coming back with for those who are all about the present evil world. All right? See, but those that accepts the will of the Father and gets right and show their faith by the way they think and live, all right? Those will have mercy and escape the fire and the doom that the Lord is coming back with. Okay? This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 54. It says, "And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Of him come we all." So of Adam come all nationalities that's on the planet Earth. All right? All nationalities that's on the planet Earth stem from Adam. It says, "And the people also whom thou hast chosen. So not only all people that's on the planet Earth stem from Adam, but also the chosen children of the Most High God, all right, which are the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? You also stem from Adam. Verse 55, it says, all this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. He made the world for his chosen children, his only begotten. All right. This is why he made the world for his children to be rulers. Okay. And rule in righteousness. What's wrong with that? Just like a king. Okay. A so-called king that's over in London right now. They leave an inheritance, and basically their son inherits to be the next king and in rulership. That's how it go. And those rulers, those kings, they have servants. All right. People don't have no problem with that. All right. Same thing with us, man. We are Yasha Allah, Israel. We're Israel, which the Hebrew word for Israel is Yasha Allah. He prince of the power. He prince of God. We are royalty. Okay? And we have an inheritance waiting on us. But we couldn't get that inheritance unless we went through the dangerous place to fall, which was that being nourished with discipline. Okay? We had to go through all these things and be called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. And go through all the things that we had to go through and overcome. Okay. And learn. All right. So he said he made the world for our sakes, for his children's sakes. All right. And all the other nations are going to be subjects to us. All right. But ultimately, after the doom and after the slavery and punishment of these other nations that they have to go through, all right, just like we had to go through, they're going to have to go through it too. All right. See, but after all that, we're going to rule over them in righteousness. And all is going to be the welfare of the world. So we're going to care about our subjects. All right. Unlike these rulers of these other nations, they don't care about their subjects. Okay. So anyway, going back to this verse 55, all this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. All right. They have become lords over us because the Lord, the Most High God, all right, has given the power into these other nations' hands and us in subjection to them. All right. This is all part of the punishment. This is all part of the nourishing with discipline. All right. That we, his special chosen children, all right, who the world was made for, all right, we had to go through all these things and be in subjection to these other nations who, when they rule in wickedness. They rule their way, which is contrary to the ways of righteousness. All right. Verse 58, it says, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. Us Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, were given into their hands. And now that we're given into their hands, they rule over us their way, with their ways, their customs, their laws. All right. Which is a death style, ultimately. Okay. It says, verse 59, if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? See, we don't have an inheritance with this world. We're on a punishment right now. We're in a training ground right now. All right. See, our inheritance is to come. See, but in the meantime, in between time, we need to be learning and growing. That's why one of my favorite scriptures are always either get or quote. I'm going to quote it now. Romans 15:4. Whatsoever things were written aforetime was written for our learning. All right. Whatever was written was done. So everything that was done aforetime and even now is done for the learning of the Israelites. So we can be those righteous rulers, judges, and gods that we're ultimately going to be. Okay? So like it says, the world was made for our sakes. But guess what? In this First Maccabees chapter 2 and 10, it says, what nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All right. All these other nations had a part in our kingdom, even though the world was made for us. All right. And when they got a part of our kingdom, we was in subjection to them and they were ruling their way. All right. And not the ways of righteousness. OK. Let me go to 2nd Esdras 3, because when these other nations rule, they don't rule with these law, statutes, and commandments. All right. And precepts. I'll prove it. This is 2nd Esdras 3 and 27. It says, and so thou gavest the city over into the hands of thine enemies. He gave us over into the hand of our enemies and the world, right? It says, Esdras was asking, man, here it is. All right, yeah, we messed up. All right, we, your special chosen children, we disobeyed. We messed up. But look at these other nations. Look what they doing. Look how they living. So he asks, verse 28, are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? He said, are their deeds any better that they should have the dominion and rule over us, your special chosen people? It says, for when I came thither, all right, Esdras said, when I came there to all these other nations, these heathens, it says, and had seen impieties without number. Then my soul saw many evildoers in the 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning. Sufferest meaning allowed. He said, I seen how you allowed them sinning and has spared wicked doers. You spared them. You're not punishing them. See, but what Esdras didn't know at the time, like I read in that Amos, he said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you. I'm going to chasten you. I'm going to morally improve you. You're going through a training ground that you may learn how to be rulers for eternity. All right. With these other nations, no, I ain't trying to morally improve them. I ain't punishing them for them doing all manner of wickedness. All right. That's why in that Ecclesiastes, it says, for sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. All right. Because they ain't got punished for doing all the evil. But that punishment is coming. All right. When the Lord come back. OK, so it says, for I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning and hast spared wicked doers and hast destroyed thy people and has preserved thine enemies and has not signified it. I do not remember how this way may be left. He said, are then they of Babylon better than they of Zion? He said, are these heathens better than us? It says, or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor have no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. These heathen ain't thinking about the ways of righteousness. These heathen ain't thinking about the law, statutes, and commandments and the instructions of the Most High God. They ain't thinking about that. It says, verse 34, Esdras say, Lord, weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world. And so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? It says, verse 36, thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. The heathen ain't kept thy precepts. The heathen ain't kept the instructions of righteousness. He said only Israel had. Now, we didn't do it perfectly, and that's why we're getting punished. Ultimately, in the kingdom of heaven, that's going to be right here on the planet Earth, we're going to have the law, statutes, and commandments written in our minds and our hearts where we do it perfectly. That's written. Okay? And that's only for us. These heathen nations don't have that promise. Okay? See, but Esdras was asking like, yo, why we going through all these things? And here it is, these heathens, they much worse than us, and they ain't done none of your precepts and commandments, and they don't think upon thy name. All right, but they flowing in wealth, they chilling, they ruling over us. You say, are they better than us? All right, see, but no, this is the Most High's perfect plan and perfect will. All right, because they're gonna have an ultimate destruction. Okay, that's gonna be much worse than what we went through. All right, so that's what happens, man. When you don't rule with the law, statutes, and commandments, you ultimately go down. All right, you ultimately go down. This is Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right? It's translated from one people to another. And when those the kingdom had been translated from one nation of people to another nation of people, you had the prophets out there speaking of the downfall of that particular nation. Then the other nation came up. Then when they was on their way down, the prophets was back out letting it be known that this is the will of the Father. All right, this is what's about to happen. Okay, so it's no different now. You have the prophets, the men of the Lord, that's speaking the words of the Most High God, the Creator of all. All right, we're out speaking His words, and it's doomed to this present evil world. But then ultimately, after that, the kingdom of heaven is going to be raised up, where it's going to be righteousness. Okay. This is 2nd Esdras 4. I'm coming down to my last couple scriptures. 2nd Esdras 4 and 27. I'll start at 26. It says, then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasteth fast to pass away. All right. This present evil world hasted fast to pass away. It says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in the time to come. Remember, I read in due time, the Lord is going to set over the earth one that is profitable, which is the Israelites, his special chosen children, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and we're going to rule it in righteousness because we're going to have the law, statutes, and commandments written in our minds and our hearts, and we're going to rule over all other nations with the law, statutes, and commandments, and they're going to have to follow our ways, which is the ways of righteousness. All right? So it says in the time to come, it says, for this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities, weakness. Okay? This world is full of unrighteousness, full of weakness, full of death, disease, and all bad things. You want to continue in a place like this? Something is wrong with you if you do. Verse 28, it says, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. for the evil is sown. The evil is sown in this present evil world. It says, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. The doom has not yet come. It says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, if the place where the evil is sown be not doomed, then cannot it come that is sown with good. Then cannot it come that is sown with good. What's sown with good? The kingdom of heaven, which is going to be ruled right here on the planet Earth by the righteous people, which are the Israelites. That's why that Daniel said that the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. All right. This is Daniel 7:18. It says, but the saints of the Most High, which are the Israelites, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. A rule without end. Why? Because we're going to rule it in righteousness perfectly. It's not going to need to be an end. It's not going to need to be a translation from one people to another anymore. All right? Because it says it's only translated from one people to another because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. See, no, the Israelites, we're going to be ruling in righteous dealings. Okay? So, going back to this second Esdras 4 and 29 again, it says, if therefore that which is sown, which was sown, the seed of evil. All right. And when you plant a seed, if I plant a apple seed in the ground, nothing is going to grow but an apple tree, and apples going to come from that tree. You're never going to get a pear. You're never going to get an orange. You're never going to get a plum. You're never going to get, any other fruit but an apple, because it was an apple seed. So from the evil seed, nothing is ever going to grow but evil. And it's going to grow more, get bigger and bigger. All right. It's going to increase in evil. And what you're going to reap from that is evil. That's all you can reap from an evil seed is evil. Okay? Just like you can't reap nothing from a apple seed but apples. All right? An apple tree, and then there's some apples going to grow on there. That's it. Nothing else. Same thing with the evil seed. Nothing else is coming but evil, y'all. So wouldn't you want that evil tree chopped down, doomed, destroyed, and a righteous seed planted with all good things? Wouldn't you want that? So this place has to be destroyed. This place has to be doomed. All right. Verse 30, it says, for the grain, I'll read 29 again. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. All right. It's a promise that something that's sown with good, a seed that's sown with good, is about to be planted when this present evil world that's sown with evil be doomed, be destroyed. It has to be. I'm reading it. Verse 30, it says, for the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much ungodliness hath it brought up into this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of the threshing come? So we're at an all-time high of evil right now, because each day, matter of fact, each century, each decade, each year, each month, all right, each week, each day, all right, each minute, all right, each second, evil growing And it's just getting worse and worse. All right? We worse than 10 years ago. 10 years was worse than 20 years ago. 20 years was worse than, this is how it goes. We're at an all-time worst, and it's going to continue to get that way until this place is doomed, until this place is destroyed when the Lord comes back in his second coming. Wouldn't you want to hasten that day?